Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here and for choosing us. As I know, and I said it before today, and I'm not tired of repeating it, there's so much choice today on the convention program. If you check it out, there's plenty of sessions, and of course, I mean, there's plenty of peers that you could meet and talk to. So I appreciate you choosing us. But you're right, because I would do the same. The panel coming up is excellent. I've got the best people for you in one group. But before we start, a warm welcome to the ITB Hotel Technology track. We have a packed afternoon with great sessions until 6 p.m. Only hotel tech-related sessions. The best speakers for you guys. Stick around; you won't miss it. Like it's really fun. I tell you. So we have B&B hotels here. We have Ruby. We have Muse, Shiji, Ideas. We have Viva. We have Revenate, Daily Point, EHG, and Hetna. We have RateGain, Google, and Robinson Club, and many more. So they're all coming, and they're very authentically sharing their insights and knowledge with you. And of course, you can connect with them, follow them on LinkedIn, make sure that you stay up to date with them in the future as well. And that leads me to social media. Make sure to post. The speakers love it, you love it, we love it as a community at ITB if we see your posts online with the hashtag ITB Berlin Convention. And as we don't have much time and we want to maximize the time, without any further ado, I'm keen to get them on stage. Please welcome with me on stage Lucille Cornet from 8 Road Ventures. We have Frank Seedorf from B&B Hotels. We have Wietse Beizeit from Shiji. We have Lukas Höfer from Ruby and Matthijs Welle from Muse. Thank you so much for being with us here for the opening panel. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that an amazing view? Yeah, I'm a lucky one having you here. Thank you so much. And as we want to do it proper, we do a proper round introducing all of you. Lucille, you are partner at 8 Road Ventures, that's correct?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm a venture capital investor. We invest in startups and scale-ups all across the globe, and we have a keen interest in travel tech. So we're investors in companies like Lighthouse, Amenities, Canary Technologies, and many others.
Well, that's a famous brand, so thank you for joining us. We love to have you here. Frank Seedorf, you're the Chief Digital Officer at B&B Hotels. Thank you for being here.
Yes, correct. Responsible for this region, Central and Northern Europe, and responsible for the e-commerce and revenue management activities here in Central Europe for B&B Hotels. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we love it too. And then Wietse Beizeit, do I pronounce your Dutch name correctly?
Beizeit.
Beizeit. It's Wietse Beizeit. You are the Vice President Global Solution Architect at Shiji. Tell us more, what do you do there?
Yeah, I work together with our global product teams to build our products, the ones that we currently have, and what's next strategically. And also partnerships falls under my responsibility, because it's not only what we build, but also where we partner.
Perfect, you're the right
be
person.
Here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, perfect to have you here. And then Lukas Höfer, you are in charge of the systems and innovation. You're Group Director of Systems Innovation at Ruby, a aspiring group of hotels growing and growing. Lean luxury is the key word, but please.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, my name is Lucas. I'm overseeing the software architecture as well as digital experience at Ruby, with the core team of a few people as well as some agencies that work for us. Yes.
Right, and then I'm not sure introduction is actually necessary because whoever has LinkedIn, we've seen that brand before, right? At least yesterday. So Matthijs Welle, you're the CEO at Muse. Thank you so much for being here. And what's the news? There has been something worth announcing yesterday, was it?
Yeah, sorry about LinkedIn. Like, we like our pink horses and unicorns, but like we had a real nice moment. We raised a lot of money so that we can really help lift travel space and really have people focus on the space. But yeah, it was a nice day yesterday. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's an honor to have you, as I said, and let's dive right into it. And I kick off with emerging technologies. So what do you believe? What of those emerging technologies have the most impact on hospitality in the next 5 to 10 years? Lucille, what would you say? What do you see there on the horizon?
Yeah, it's tough to choose. I mean, if I had to choose one, I'm quite passionate about rebuilding direct connectivity with the guest. I think the last 20 years or 30 years maybe were about disintermediating and adding a lot of intermediaries in the booking process. And I really believe that we're going to see a reversal of that and just more direct connectivity between the players.
Right, I see. And Frank, from your perspective as a hotelier, what emerging technologies are you excited about and where do you see real opportunity for our sector?
Yeah, I would say we have 4 core sectors where we work heavily in. The one is AI, using it especially for customer services. There we are at the beginning, must say, but we are looking into it. Then the same customer data connectivity, customer data platforming is something which is really relevant to us, bringing 10 to 15 systems, PMS, whatever we have into one data lake, retrieving the data to have a really good customer experience is good. The third thing is revenue management, automation, be smart, have the right price with AI, also supported tools to have the right price at the right time. And I think CSR is another thing, social corporate responsibility, where we all have to look on ourselves what we are doing the next 10 years to make this planet livable, still livable.
Right, okay. Wietse, is there anything you'd add, or you say that you missed an important trend?
I think, first of all, it's exciting that if you look at the industry, we finally see a tipping point in adoption of cloud and platform technology at scale. And I think that's truly exciting, and also a foundational step that a lot of hotels still have to take before they can really leverage emerging technology. And what's next then in 5 to 10 years, I think it's robotics, digital identities, and also AI and data can be leveraged. And what I find fascinating is large action models. It goes over and beyond large language models, and those large action models, they can predict what to do next and break complex tasks down into actionable insights. And imagine if we integrate this into our existing tech stacks.
We have quite some complexity, do we?
We have complexity. That's why simplification and this step to the cloud and open platforms, where there's choice now in industry, is, I think, a fundamental first step. And then, last but not least, I think there will be a change in UI, UX. So we're very much screen-driven with our technology at the moment. And in the next 5 to 10 years, I think that's going to change to more voice or hybrid and all of the other user interfaces that will come in the next 10 years.
Right, makes sense.
Bring us back in 5 or 10 years and we evaluate.
Right. Is there more to add? Lucas, would you add something, or is everything covered for the trends we should watch? Yeah. From your perspective, Matthijs, anything you'd like to add?
So, like AI has been mentioned, obviously, I think the thing we've been doing in hotels is collecting endless amounts of data, and we've never used it. We've never thought, oh, I've got this great profile with guest information, and then create a really personal experience. And that's where AI is going to come in. It's going to consume these huge pieces of data and give it to you in a tweet size, in a check-in screen, so that instantly you know what the next action is. And that's not 5 to 10, like that's like this year. That's going to happen now. And finding pieces of data, like pulling together a revenue report in a PMS is just awful. And figuring out what my revenue was per segment yesterday, it takes hours in Excel sheets, and it just sucks. And like that's where AI is going to come in. You're going to be able to query that directly with a question. And that's the thing that excites me, because I've always wanted to find that piece of data in the PMS. And the other thing we've seen post-COVID is that the new generation of employees have changed. They want hybrid travel. They want a workplace in a hotel, in a lobby. And a traditional system just thinks about bedrooms. And there's so much more to what a modern hotel should be than just bedrooms. Think about co-working spaces in the lobby that you can fill, or meeting rooms, or like anything to cater to these extended stays. And that's where you see the big brands going extended stay. And modern systems have to keep up with that as well.
Right, so we talk about the units, right? So how do you, sell your product?
Exactly, like in one booking, I should be able to book a month-long or 2-month-long stay with a midweek co-working, with a bicycle that I want to rent. And I want to be able to package that whole stay in one flow. And that's just not possible today.
Right, I see. And then, I mean, we had this morning when we opened the eTravel track. We firstly tried to figure out, so how do you differentiate between a hype, a trend, and how do you select what trend is really actionable? Where should you take action as a hotelier? Because quite frankly, if you open the news, I mean, headlines, they're killing you, right? This is overwhelming. And I mean, last year we had the metaverse and virtual reality. This year is the AI. I'm not sure what's next year, but you know, it's hard to decide where do I put my focus to. So, Lucas, you as a hotelier, I mean, you're probably confronted with that on a daily routine. How do you navigate that? What's your advice? How to differentiate what's really important?
Yes, I mean, first of all, fads are also really exciting, right? It's nothing that per se is bad, right? But then, of course, you should be very sure about your business goals, your customer service goals that you have for the organization. You should be in a position to be able to strategize IT instead of trying to use software to patch problems that you have, right? So once you're in that position, I think you will be good when it comes to fads, and you will be able to, you know, playfully discover them instead. if you're not in that position, I think then it's important that you're true to yourself in the sense of, you know, which skills does my team have? Where do we stand? Are we somebody that can, you know, fill a pitch with life, or are we somebody that really needs guidance? You know, that needs a supplier to come to you and already suggest a very feasible business case because they've done this 20 times with similar companies right away. So, and to be honest to yourself, where you stand in this, I think is incredibly important, and that will also protect you against fads.
Right, and Frank, you as a hotelier as well. I mean, you have a quite different product, right? And you are strong in scaling, so you know a bit about scaling and putting tech into plenty properties quickly. Do you have advice how to select what to act upon and what not?
I love your answer, I must say. Do not use technology if you're trying to solve problems. Use them for your business. Do not defocus on things where you are not strong. So we are a value for money chain. We have always to look on what are our core strategies. Does the technology really gives us opportunities, or is it? If I would ask my team 30 seconds of answers, what is the benefit the technology can kick in? And I have no or confusing answers, I'm just bringing it to the side. And do not decide it on your own, do it with your team, because you have so much, as you said, complexity. And if it's really easy, if you have no reason to do it for at least 30 seconds, do not do it. And focus on what makes you strong. Do not forget what makes you strong, whatever technology kicks in. And if it's useful, just take time to consume and inform yourself more about it.
Right. Maybe we can learn a thing or two from investors. I mean, you put the money to it, and you have a duty to make the money grow, right? So you have to make sure it works out. So what's your approach? How do you select what?
Yeah, maybe just to add to the great points made, I always think like also what can you learn from other industries? So especially when we think about expectations from younger generations, I'm always thinking what can we learn from neobanks? What can we learn from social media, from gaming that could be transported in the travel and tech ecosystem? And in that way, we can really innovate and really target younger ways of consuming travel.
Is it that comparable though? Are these markets very much comparable? So
I think so. I mean, I think if you observe, like, for example, payments disappearing from a lot of these apps and making like completely seamless. I think Matt mentioned like combining experiences. I think AI customer support, people prefer chat as opposed to phone. So I think there are a couple of points definitely that are becoming like table stakes and that we should learn from other industries for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good advice, right? And yeah, when you look at integrating technologies into your existing infrastructure, that's a challenge to hoteliers, right? Because you have existing ecosystem. I mean, you don't have the money. Ideally, we would swipe it out and get everything anew. You would love that, I guess, right? Doesn't work that way, though. So, what's key considerations? What would you say, Frank, when you put your tech stack together? How do you do that so that it works together and that it all makes sense?
So, to be really transparent, we first asked ourselves about that 3 or 4 years ago. Before that, we had a lot of systems standing parallel next to each other, and we said, okay, if we are not able to orchestrate these 10 to 15 systems and data into one data lake, and then also being able to retrieve the data right on time, everything else will be useless in the future. So at the moment, we are doing our homework, plug per plug per plug, to bring this data into our data lake, then to retrieve it, to use it for our customers. And this is what we are doing at the moment. And when I went to hospitality, I was really, to be honest, I was shocked how defragmented we are at the moment. And we need to work on this. And this is my homework at the moment with the team.
Right. And then, Matt, you probably come this across every conversation, most likely, when you talk to hotelier, not right? How do we connect? Interoperability, keyword.
Like the biggest pain is that people want the fancy feature at the front end.
Right.
They don't want to do the hard work to lift their back end. And if you don't have a cloud-based solution at the back end with an open API, and how do you know what an open API is? I just Google the brand name with open API, and I see if there's documentation on the website. And if you find it, great. That's a good first step. But you cannot have some old server in a back office running your operation and expecting AI to come in and solve all of your problems. It just doesn't work. And the majority of hotels still run on-premise today, which is shocking in 2024. And I think that's the thing that you're seeing shift. And it's why investors invest in Muse, because they're like, clearly there's something that is moving Like there's a shift happening. These servers are dying in the next 2 to 3 years' time.
Microphone? It's a battery?
Hello? Hello?
Hello, hello, hello.
Hotels have to move into the cloud, and that's what's happening. And I think then when you have an open API, you can just switch it on if you like an integration. If you don't like it, you switch it off and you move on to the next one. And that's the exciting bit. But you can't get there without the cloud.
Right, so the cloud is key. Got that message. As an architect for the infrastructure, what do you say? Is there something to add?
I agree very much kind of like about the open APIs and API-first technology. I mean, that's how we architected our next generation solution. When we looked in market, if we would build or buy a PMS and other things that we want to bring on platform, we decided to build it from ground up because we could not find something that has truly this open architecture. And that's very much needed to have that flexibility for what's next.
So it's scalability, flexibility, cloud, interoperability. It has to make sense as a use case. Is there anything you would add as well? Like
security and compliance?
Oh yeah, we shouldn't dive into that. We don't have time for that. We need another day.
Let's stay out of it.
Yes,
it's very important.
Of course, yeah, it's very important. Absolutely. Lucas, is there something you'd like to
add? I would add the term ownership. Right?
Ownership
right. In terms of. I mean, you as a hotelier, you should own your data structure. You should own your data flow. You should be able to say where you want the source of truth for your profile data, where you want your source of truth for company data, and so on and so forth. Because the reality will be that in a few years' time, you will have different systems that all hold partial data of profiles that somewhere will come together. And if you don't take the ownership over the vision of that and how that is supposed to work together at some point, the vendors are not going to do that for you. They will look that they get into the stack, right? But you need to take the ownership. And once you have the ownership, you can also give clear guidance for these kinds of projects. And once there is clear guidance for these kinds of projects, there will also be success.
Right. And would you say there's a difference in terms of what property we look at? Because you mentioned that, right? Your value for money chain, then you have luxury products. I mean, you used to be with Circle Collection. They have boutique properties. I mean, Muse, you probably work with plenty of various company forms. What would you say, Matthias? Is there something you have to consider depending on who you are as a hotel brand or group? Oh my God!
Welcome. Yeah, different hotel groups work differently. If you're an independent hotel, it's relatively easy to start building a tech stack from that. But the moment you get to these sizes of companies, you need an entire team to maintain the data lake and the integrations and really own that. And you don't want to outsource some of these pieces. You want to have control of that. So I definitely think as you scale, the complexity builds and you have to lean into that challenge. You can't just say, I don't want to touch that. I'm going to just give it to someone else to manage.
Take this one, yeah, okay. So I hand the question over. So I'm still in the topic. So who would like to add something? Would you like to add something?
Yeah, no, I was just going to add that I think the good news is a lot of the cloud-based systems are now way more interoperable. So we really see a difference, I think, not only in hotel tech, but more broadly in the tech world, where I think these closed gardens are really a thing of the past. And it's very common to see marketplaces. I think you have one at Muse where you resell other technology products. So we definitely see now it's a game of platforms and being interoperable and working together, and you see like integrations and partnerships, commercial partnerships going with it, as opposed to this concept of, you know, now that you bought like, you know, a PMS, you're stuck forever with that system. I think that's those days are gone.
Great, and that also helps defragmentation, right, Frank? Do you want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I think that's not a big difference if you're a luxury hotel chain or if you're value for money chain. We talk a lot about services, what the customer expects. In our world, it must be very fast. It's a very, let's say, small, basic world. If we are talking about the luxurious segment, the value chain is the same, but you may need to collect other data. But there it's even more important that you know who the customer is. So at the end, the structure will be the same. It's all about what data is relevant for you and what's maybe not so relevant. But the complexity, I would say, is more or less the same.
Yeah, I agree with that. And what we see is in the luxury segment, there's more human touch versus digital. And I think balancing this out with a match to your brand is crucial. And what we see as well is the trend of multi-brand in groups, right? All the way from luxury to select service. So that's why when we look at building technology, we try to kind of like cater for larger groups, rich feature functionality for luxury, and then we see that it can easily be used by select service and independent properties as well. So I think it's really kind of like define how your guest journeys look like for your brands, and then start selecting that technology and platforms that fit best.
Right. I mean, to me that sounds easy. So why are we not there yet? What would you say? What's holding us back? Yeah, Matthias.
I think it's just we're just all afraid, and we're like, it isn't broken. I can still check people in. I can check them out. I can print a bill. It's fine. And we're all saying, no, it's broken. And it has been broken. And now, because of the acceleration we're seeing of technology this past year, people are realizing very quickly that actually it is actually genuinely broken, and we have to go and fix it. And somebody has to jump first. And the large brands are afraid to make the jump. They're taking tiny steps, and they're really holding back on making the big decision. And you've seen independent brands and really forward-thinking brands making the jump into the cloud, and they're benefiting now over the big brands. And I've seen larger brands, hotels leaving them because they don't have the freedom to pick their own technology. They don't want to be told what system they have to use. They want the freedom because it exists. Why would I be limited by a brand if the brand is supposed to add value to my business?
Oh, so that opens it even to a wider topic, right? So there's
yeah.
also a mindset shift in general in the industry that's needed for that to succeed. Is that correct?
Yeah, like I think so. I think it's a conversation we have to have. Why are you limiting the systems you're allowed to use? If an independent hotel can pick their own stack, you can say, we recommend this because this is the best practice and we see this outcome. But if a certain hotel in a certain location will benefit from a different tech stack, I'm like, great, have at it, try it.
Right, I see. Well, you know, once you have so many bright people on stage, I think it's always a great chance to go really traditionally in line and ask them for their best advice. So picture a hotelier that really wants to innovate and they really want to get this done. They want to have a new, modern, scalable, future-proof tech stack. Lucille, what do they have to do? What's your advice?
I would go back to basics and think of the guest and think of the staff. I think Matt made a really good point. I think staff is going to become a bigger and bigger problem, attracting people to our industry. And so I would think of them as personas and the Gen Z in particular, and think like what environment do they want?
Perfect. Frank, what would you say?
I would first of all paint pictures to just have a really smart vision of pure applications on one picture. What do I want to have? What do I need? And then I would send a request to all the people here having a booth. So please be a little bit more easy with the customer coming to your booth. Talk a little bit easier about the messages, the things you want to sell. Because if you look on all these wonderful, fantastic advertorial brand advertising, a lot of hoteliers might not understand what it means. So on the other side, the hotels should not should not have fear to ask. So sometimes it's not stupid to ask questions. I'm asking questions every day because I'm not knowing so much about the complexity. So ask, paint your picture, and a little bit try to make it easier for the hoteliers to understand what you're selling.
So simplifying there as well. Yes, okay, cool. Vito, you say?
Yeah, I think I would go back to what I presented here last year on stage when I talked about the change management journey that I've done at a European hotel group. And we have been really mapping out our guest and employee experiences, and then we assess the impact of the tech investments based on their impact on guest, employee, competitiveness and profitability. And this model really helped, and I mean, there's no specific model that I would draw out for you. I can share what I've used, but I mean, I think it really helps to simplify and focus on your critical touch points across these guest and employee experiences. And then one final piece is that don't forget the change management journey, because selecting new tech is one thing, but to have proper adoption and ROI, this change management journey is equally important as the tech selection process.
Right. Lucas is nodding, so he's in full agreement, I guess.
Yeah, I love that I came up with the change management, because I would even increase the stakes, and I would say it's more important almost than the tech selection. Of course, the tech selection will decide the scalability factor, but the change management will the change management will define the success overall of the initiative. And yeah, so I love that point. Other than that, I mean, the only thing that I can add to it in terms of what should a hotelier do that wants to innovate, well, I think it really starts with the question, again, coming back to the business goals, am I a hotel that lives off efficiency, or am I a hotel that lives off customer intimacy? And either or will then open up an array of totally different questions and technology decisions. So, for example, if you're really up for operational excellence in that sense, you know, API-first systems that live in the cloud, right? You know, that will just be gold in your ears. You know, that's really something that you should put on the priority list. Whereas if it's about customer intimacy, you know, you might more leaning towards the tools that either allow a very shiny digital experience, right, or that allow a high degree of customization of the product that you already have, despite eventual efficiency issues, right? So it really starts with the question: is it for me more important to, you know, have a really high degree of automation, or is it really important for me to be really close to the customer of mine?
Cool. And Matthias, do you have a playbook to share? How to innovate as a hotelier? Do you have a 10-step guide, or how
Yeah,
would you? Yes.
10
Cool.
steps.
Yes.
Great. So our theme is dream big, and I think that's the thing. We start with technology. We're like, oh, I need to replace your existing system, and I'm going to just look for something that has all the features. And it's the wrong way to approach it. And I think you need to really sit in your lobby and say, what do I want this brand to be? Like, we are all just welcome to the hotel, check in, okay, passport, credit card. Like, it's the same. Every hotel does the same thing, and it doesn't have to. Like, technology is not the thing that's making you do that. So this first step is saying, okay, what do I want this experience to be? Do I want it to be so fast? Do I want it to be kiosk? Don't I want to check in maybe completely remote? And it is entirely possible, but you can't go into the technology question without having a vision for it. So that would be my first step. Mm-hmm. How many minutes do I have?
You have time, please.
Okay.
Take your time. No, we're all relaxed.
No, like, you have to start with the vision, and then you have to make sure that the core facilitates it. So make sure that you have a cloud-based system with an open API. And if you've never heard of API, like, it's actually basically really easy documentation for other systems to start talking to your system. And often you'll find that partner has a marketplace. Look how many integrations they have and how good the integration reviews are. Because then you know whether you can trust them, and just start building your tech stack. And it doesn't cost that much because it's software as a service. So you don't do these massive upfront licensing fees and servers you have to buy. You pay per month. So you pay over a period of time. And if you don't like it, you can go. And I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and there's probably a lot of learnings whenever you test and try something.
Yeah.
You will at least be left with some learnings, right?
Some things just aren't for you. There's revenue management systems for the upper end of the market. And depending on the type of hotel you are in that segment, there's another revenue management system for that as well. You have to go through them. And it's not like we used to make these commitments of 10 years to these software vendors where you have to pay up for around 5,000 euros to just get the license. It isn't the case anymore. You can try it.
Well, I mean, I think that sounds very actionable if you ask me. So that was great advice shared. And I mean, you have a full day left today where we have sessions diving even deeper into that, covering many of the topics we just addressed. And where can we meet you guys? Like, first of all, follow them on LinkedIn. I can just recommend. I do it personally. I enjoy it every day because they share thoughts, they share company updates. You stay in the know, and it's very interesting. So, Lucille, where do we meet you?
Around all day.
You're around all day, so make sure to connect. Frank, you have a booth, right?
Hall 9, booth 211, I think.
But you won't miss it. It's the B&B Hotel.
I'm there this afternoon.
Yeah, wonderful.
Also Hall 9, the CG
Yes.
boot.
Wonderful. Lucas, you're around as well?
You're around as well, and otherwise you find me on LinkedIn.
Hall 8, look for the blue jackets and the blue stand. We've gone for blue this year. We've moved on from pink a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think you will miss it. Well, thank you so much, Lucille from 8 Roads, Frank from B&B Hotels, and Wietse from CG Group, Lucas from Ruby, and Matthias from Muse. I wish you a super successful ITB, and I hope to have you here next year again. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your attention. I love it. Thank you.